Hey, everybody. Hey, happy Tuesday. I hope everyone is having a great day. I know this was long overdue, but I definitely wanted to come on today to have an open chat. Yes, Auntie, yes, let's have an open chat. So, wait 1 second. So, the first thing we need to do, let me go ahead and pull it up. We need to everyone to sign the petition. That's the Justice for Shanquella Robinson petition. That's at change.org/Shanquella, change.org/Shanquella. So make sure you all are signing that petition. Hopefully some people will actually come on the panel and have a discussion today. Okay, so let's see. Where's my invite? So, hey Teresa and Monica. Hey. Let me go ahead and drop the link, the join link. So I really don't have a specific topic. If we can discuss whatever y'all want to about the Shanquella case, if anyone wants to join the panel, we can have a discussion. And if y'all want to ask me questions, you can ask me questions just to get my thoughts or my opinions on the topic. Hey, Linda. Hey, Brenda. So yeah, make sure y'all hit the like button on your way in. It's also, and I can also just pull up something as well while y'all thinking. So let me know what y'all want to talk about. I said it's open chat, open panel and chat. So as far as Nazir goes, what are your thoughts now on Nazir? Now that I have posted his flight tickets, right? I mean his flight information. So what are your thoughts on Nazir now, right? So are a lot of people still saying Cabo 6? Are some people saying Cabo 5 and Nazir? Or some people are like, oh no, it's still Cabo 6. He got there on Friday. Oh no, he was there during a brutal attack. So let me know your thoughts on that. What are your thoughts on the doctor? Like, what do you think about the doctor and her involvement in all this? Do you think that she should be arrested, or is just something civil, or is it criminal? Just like your thoughts and opinions. And y'all can sound off in the chat and I will answer questions. And remember, I'm just like y'all, a viewer, okay? And I can just only give my opinion. Good afternoon. Hey, Brenda. Bentley's World, Evangelist Kimberly. Hey. Hey, y'all. Hey, Shell. Welcome to the panel.
Hi, good afternoon, Dani. Thank you. Thank you for the invite to come up. As far as my thoughts, I don't know, did you get the chance to watch the North Carolina journalist last night?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I've actually, I'm not the biggest fan, but he was saying some good information yesterday. And I know that he consults with the family before he speaks. Well, I should say he made me think. I shouldn't say good information. He made me think. Because I remember one time we discussed before. I'm like, you know how that report goes all the way till where Carolina pronounces Shanquella. She pronounces her dead. I mean, unalive at 5:49 or 5:59, and then when the second autopsy was done, the medical examiner gave it a 3 p.m. And then last night, he pretty much said that the same what I was thinking, that when Khalil called mom, that she had already all of that had already happened. Like she had already passed away by then, and pretty much that they know. Um, and then he talked about like who was going to break first and that kind of thing. And then he also talked about that they know that there was something subsequent to that fight with Dejanay, and they were saying that they want somebody to come out and tell all of what happened. He also said that they know that they put her in a shower after the fight and washed her off, and then it was a lot of different little stuff. So and it was a lot. Again, those are some of the main points that I took away from it. Not exactly how they would know that they put her in the shower. I don't know if he's guessing at that or they actually have some, proof of that. But what
So
do you think about that?
is that a YouTuber?
Yeah, Joe Jackson.
Oh, so him, okay.
Mm,
So he was pretty much, oh, well, here's the thing. I haven't watched this video, but here's the thing. The family has new information because of the lawyer going to Mexico, right? So
yeah,
is it possible that some of that information could be like going around now or circulating?
that's what you gotta check it out. That's what I was thinking. Like, he's put some stuff out there, and then he did say that they pretty much that by the time Khalil had called and did all that, calling to mom, that Shanquella had already passed away. He did say that. He said they knew. He knows pretty. He spoke it pretty definitively that he knew that they put her in a shower and washed her off, like try to wash, like any blood off of her and things like that. And he was specific about that, saying he was washing the blood and stuff off of her, and then said that they know he went back to about the Winter thing, about Winter Slam, that they know that Winter did the final blow. um he was like soliciting for that video, but for whatever reason he spoke definitively about that. um
So he brought up again that about he brought it up again about winter.
yes. He did. Yep, he brought it up again and said that she did the final blow. And then he was just like, I thought it was quite interesting, and I don't know, and I just look at, like, whether if it's 100% true or not. It's left to be told. But I kind of look at, like, when he comes on, he's like, he always talks to he says he consults with the family before he says anything. So I don't
Hmm.
know. Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know because we can watch. We can. I can check it out on this live. I just have to make sure I pause it like frequently to give commentary on it. And
Mhm.
so let's go ahead and look at some of the comments first, and I'll pull up Gerald's video. Okay, so let's see. Marquis says, "Yes, it's still Cabo 6 for me." And so, why do you think it's still Cabo 6? Why do you still think that Nazir should be included in Cabo 6?
Yeah.
Go ahead and leave your comment, Marquise, or you can actually come on the panel and give your opinion. Don't be afraid. I don't bite. Well, sometimes. But so don't be afraid to come on the panel, or you just leave it in the chat. I hit that like button. Thank you, Evangelist, for hitting the like button. Okay. Monica says it's still Cabo 6. Nazir went home with and did not talk to the police at all. Oh, I think that we kind of need to explain what we mean by Cabo 6 and Cabo 5. When I say Cabo 6 and 5, I'm not saying that Nazir should be like completely off the hook and that he didn't do anything that I am second guessing. And what I mean by second guessing, okay, is that some things are questionable. However, when I mean Cabo 5 is, I mean, who is held criminally responsible? Like, who are the criminals in this circumstance? Okay. So that's what I mean. So I don't know some people's what they mean by Cabo 5 or 6, but for me, the anybody that I feel was there when the when the brutal attack occurred, and also anybody that helped cover it up or omitted information. So anything criminal, anybody that's civil, I would not include in the Cabo 6, just like I wouldn't include the doctor because it's more civil, and I also wouldn't include Nazir because it's more civil. So that's what I mean by Cabo 5 and 6. What about you, Shell?
Well, okay, so this is what I wanted to ask you. Pick your brain about these thoughts. If in fact, right, if in fact that my original assumption was correct, and that's 3 p.m. Mexico time, right? And then she pronounced her, deceased at 5:49. She, accounted for certain. She gave the the police certain times of when she did this and everything else. If none of that happened, wouldn't then she go into criminal for omission and then in the covering, for covering it up? I can't think of the word I was thinking about before, but wouldn't she then flip into um criminal in that case at this point?
So you're saying that you think the doctor covered it up?
Well, if she went all the way, because think about it, if she passed away on around about 3, and the medical exam I'm getting, I'm sure they tested, how they test the whatever organ, I believe it's the liver, and then they're going to be plus or minus as far as exact time, but around about 3. Well, that's definitely far away from 5:49, and then so that means that she's part of the whole thing, because if she's saying she pronounced her at 5:49 and knowing that she died somewhere about, we'll say 3, if it could be 2:30, could be 3:30, you know, plus or minus either way. But then she's going along with the whole 5:49 thing.
So
Um,
what time are they saying that the doctor arrived? I have to look at the timeline.
they said 3:15. That's what the Mexican journalist put somewhere along the lines. And but I
I
know
know
that.
the police report says 3:15.
Right, but right. And then also with the medics, the medics said they dispatched at this time. They got there at such and such time, and they're even in it because the time of their dispatch was also after 3. So I'm just confused on this timeline, and I'm looking at it with one eye open, because I started noticing that if it said 5 o'clock, if the death certificate was going to say 5 o'clock, then that means that if they were going to convert it in the Mexico time, then they would have made it 7, not before. They would have made it after, if it was a conversion table type of
No, that's not what I meant.
thing. Oh,
Let me go over it again.
very confused.
Okay, so basically, I'm saying that when the death certificate was made, if they put 3 p.m., that would be Cabo time, right?
Right.
So that would be 3 p.m. Cabo time, and then you would have to add 2 more hours. Why is it? You put it on mute for a second.
That was my phone.
Okay, you have to put 2 more hours for North Carolina time, so that would make it 5 p.m. So the time of death on the death certificate should be 5 p.m. based on for North Carolina time.
Okay. But if the Mexico has 5:49, that's still Mexican time, and that's still before what the doctor said. In Mexico, she said 5:49, and then in Mexico,
Oh, so you're saying it'll be 3:49 if she put
right,
5:49.
right, it's Tuesday, yeah,
Oh, okay, I see.
yeah,
But see that I really don't. To be honest, I'll be honest. I've been not saying this right, but I really don't trust that death certificate time of death. I don't really think that he did everything he's supposed to do as a
okay,
medical examiner to get the exact precise time of death. I really don't think he did
okay,
at
okay,
all. I just don't,
right,
because that will take some time to do, and I really don't think he did like 100%. I need to see an autopsy believe that he actually did 100% what he's supposed to do as a medical examiner. And not to
okay,
mention that the other medical examiner, and he actually showed me how to research it, that the
hmm
medical examiner that did her autopsy wasn't certified, is not certified to actually perform autopsy. So he's missing some credentials. So
oh,
that's something that can be discussed before, right? So he's missing those credentials. Now, technically, let's get this. Okay. So he became a surgeon in 1980. So
hmm
he's overly qualified as a doctor and a medical professional to diagnose someone with Atlas luxation, and most likely he has came across this. He is qualified. Okay.
hmm
As far
hmm
as legally, we look at his license and his credentials, he does not have all the qualifications to perform autopsy. And that was pointed out by another medical examiner. And I was like, oh, that's a problem because, but if he were in the United States, if he were in the United States, he'll be overly qualified. He wouldn't need as much as in Mexico, right?
Right.
So I
I
guess
get
it
it.
was, on the venue. So I don't really think I would have to see the autopsy to believe that he actually did all the mathematical and scientific testing to be able to determine the exact time of death. Now, as
Yeah.
far as cause of death, he has experience. He's 1980 a surgeon, so that's plenty of experience.
Yeah, I heard that the medical examiners, that when that's like one of the things, how they determine the time is they somehow they take the temperature of the liver, and it can tell you about, they can give you not precise but very close to when when they passed away. That's what I heard. So if you're the that's if you still, if you could ask that question, if you ever asked that the guy who came on the show before, is that correct? Because if it's just a matter of taking a temperature, right? It seems like that would be like, out of anything that's more complex, that seems like that'd be less complex.
Yeah, he said something. He didn't go into great detail about the type. Now, here's my question about you saying, okay, so what about this for the doctor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, since the doctor did not cause her injury, her cause of death was his outlet luxation, how would she still be charged criminally? And you said for cover up, but how would she be a part of cover up just because let's say she did try, let's say like she was trying to work on her and then she didn't really check the time until after she finally realized there was no way to revive her, and then she checked the time and then that's the time she put. But
Mm-hmm.
so how would that lead to cover up just because she put like the wrong time of death on there? So how would that lead to like cover up of the actual crime itself of outlaw succession and covering up that you knew that you were covering up a murder?
Because that's like, to me, where I look at it is that's grossly incorrect, because that's just about 3 hours later. It's grossly incorrect. So that's why I would think that they would want to ask her more questions about omission in an attempt to cover up a crime. It's it's just a gross difference, not like give or take half hour, even an hour. That's 3 hours.
But how would that be covering up a crime if just by reporting it late, like reporting it late? I'm just saying hypothetically, how would that?
Because she recorded it at five. But I'm just saying, in my opinion, she recorded it at 5:59, and it happened somewhere about 3. Like, what was your reason for putting it? Like, the difference between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock at any amount. So if you really if you came in there and you did it, I'm sure she made it there. I'm assuming. But okay, so you did all these things happen. If it happened at 3 versus 6, then I would want to. If I was an FBI agent, I would. And then, considering that they got out of there without further questioning and they were able to make it back, if I was an agent, I would ask her, what's the reason for that gross, mistake. And I would ask that, and to see if you were aiding them to get out of there for whatever reason. I don't know, but I definitely would question that.
Yeah, so I think at some point that she probably would just want to get to the point where she will cover her own ass, and that's more to
Mhm.
say, um, like she probably knew something was off, but she also like by the time she would be questioned or anything, I don't really think that she was a part of any cover up. I think that she came there and thought it was going to be an easy job. She thought she was just going to go there and give an IV to somebody that was on vacation and had a little bit too much to drink, and she would get the
Mhm.
IV and then she would go home. Probably came there unequipped, um, with everything she needed. And then now she gets there and it's way more than she thought, and it's way over her head as an inexperienced doctor. I really
Mhm.
think that she probably tried to revive her or save her or try to get her like to come around, and she probably spent an extensive amount of time based on the 14 rounds or everything they said. Now, so I think that she came there thinking it was going to be like a routine alcohol IV kind of thing, and then it was way more extreme. Um, but I really don't. I don't know. I just don't think that she intentionally tried to help the Cabo Six to cover up anything.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe now that all is said and done that she will try to protect her own eyes to avoid a
Mm-hmm.
lawsuit, avoid any more trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Okay.
don't think that she will try to protect them and end up in jail herself. I don't think she would want to risk her whole years of education and expertise and all her background to protect them, strangers from out of state, out of the country.
Right.
But
And then,
then,
oh, who's that? I'm sorry. Hi, whoever that is. I can't see your
Linda,
name.
hey, Linda.
Hi, Linda.
um, hi, ladies. I mean, I think that she is liable, but I also think she tried to cover it up because at first, you know, when you go to the hospital, the first thing people ask you is, how did this happen? And I'm quite sure she saw that Quella was beat up. And you had enough control over the situation. You're a doctor. You could have called the ambulance and took her out of there no matter what they said. If you needed to call the police to get a police to escort you to get that body, get her out of there to be seen by a hospital, you could have did that. So I think she's negligent in a lot of things because you can't just go, okay, if that's just like with a child. If your child come home and you know they didn't leave that way, and they come home with a big eye, a black eye, and busted lip and teeth missing, you're gonna be like, what happened to you? Who did this? So I think she got a lot to do with it, and the Cabo Six, they covered it up. They Everybody that was on the scene covered it up, even including those medic people. That man looked like, oh, I brought the bag in, but it don't look like he ever took the bag out to give resuscitation or nothing. It was on his shoulder. I understand that people were saying that the picture might have been staged, but I just look at it like they just let her die. I really look at it like that because I'm sitting there like, okay, no one in this whole circle had any kind of regard for life to not at least get her out of that house into a medical facility. And it's just sad. It hurts so bad to see a young black woman gone from the earth like that for no reason, all because of her hard work and how she wanted to live. So I think they tried to cover it up. I think Mexico tried to cover it up some. And I don't think we ever gonna know what time she passed because if our people over here can't distinguish, they probably can do tests on her tissues and stuff. But I really don't think we're ever gonna get the right story other than the Atlas luxation and the back broke. That's all I think. And I'm a yield down.
I think that I agree that the doctor is responsible, like civilly. You could have stayed up, Linda. I agree that the doctor is responsible civilly, but I just think that it will be difficult and hard to prove that she's responsible criminally, even for cover up or omission. And I also believe that that's why they have not charged her with anything in Mexico. Because remember, she's not a United States citizen, so they don't need extradition to arrest her or charge her. They can just go to her home and arrest her and charge her with something, but they haven't. It's hard to really press charges or file a criminal charge on the doctor in their like during their care. Now, like suing them like civilly, yeah, that's more easier to do.
Yeah, I do it. I understand that part, but I think that like if she's a licensed doctor and for um Sue-Ann to go over there and like they're not making her available. She has a license and the license is registered through I guess the through and here it's registered to the state. I don't know how they do it there, but they would know where she's at, even if she's not at that hospital anymore. If she has a license, they know where she is. Like that's a law. They have to, provide that to them so they know where she is. But instead of saying, well, she's not here, and this is, they like gave no information on her. To me, it's like they hide her, and they gotta be hiding her for a reason.
Has someone called and asked about her? Because she's no longer working at the hospital, but I know before when I called, they said they could send her a message or email her or something, but she's no longer working there.
Well, I'm just going by what Sue Ann said, that she wanted to talk to her and they didn't make her available. She was there for a week. So I'm thinking that if she got there and she wanted to talk to the doctor, even if she wasn't there, they could have, gave her information how to get in contact with her. But, she didn't necessarily say the ins and the outs. But my takeaway is that they didn't make her accessible. Like if she's innocent and, of anything other than of malpractice or whatever, I should say anything other than she's whatever it is, they didn't make her accessible. And
yeah, I just don't know how far or to what extent that Sue Ann actually tried to search for her while she was there.
yeah,
I mean, like someone can say she's no longer working there, and then she say, "Well, um, can you send me like give me her old email, or is there a way I can contact her?" And then she goes further with it. It's kind of like if someone goes to an old job of yours and they're trying to find you, the person is really going to say, "Oh, they're no longer working here," but they're not going to really go over and aboard to assist you. I guess it's like they're no longer here.
Okay.
Now, I did call like right after we got her fired, and I inquired about her, and they said that they could pass along a message, but I don't know. I don't really think she's in hiding. I think she's no longer working there,
Okay.
and I think that she's accessible to whoever needs her. She's accessible to the police there, and she's accessible to the FBI if they need a statement, and anybody that actually probably digs deeper to find her. But I don't really think that they'll be like you said, readily available. But because they most of the time say for everyone to go to the police department and talk to those people. So Bentley says, I always believe Nazir, he wasn't there according to the facts. His ticket, he wasn't there. I say Cabo 5 because I believe the others left him in the blind. Yeah, I agree with this. I do think they left him in the blind. But just like with the doctor, there's also she had visible injuries to her face. So then that brings into, well, where do you think this came from? Like, where do you think these injuries come from, right? But at the same time, there was an article I read before that said that she had a fall. So then they could have told them that, like, when the doctor said, asked them about the knot on her head, they had to give her an answer about the knot on her head. They had to say something, right? But she pointed.
Right.
So what did they say to her in response?
Right. That's the gray area. Like we don't know what they said, but Nazia said she pointed it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Let me
I'll
ask
just
you,
wait.
go ahead.
I said I'll just wait to hear more, but right now, that's where my mind goes that she was part of it. But it's left to be told. And I'm waiting to hear more. But right now, I hear what she's saying, and I take that, I take regard because you do a lot of research. But I'm not totally convinced yet, and I think I just need to hear more.
Yeah, I understand. I actually can try to call the American Medical Center to see what they're saying now, but to me, it's kind of late to do that. I mean, late in the process is because right after she's fired, it's like it's kind of expected to get calls, but like months later, it's kind of late, should I say? It's kind of like if I was just fired and then you like call and say like, "Am I here?" And you say, "Oh, she's no longer working here," and then they might can pass along a message. But when someone has no longer been there for a while, then it's kind of different
Yeah.
as far as them saying it. But I know the last time I called, they said, well, they can forward her a message or send her a message. Hold on. Let's go. What's the next question right here in the chat? Hey, Mac. Wait. Hey, Mac, and who else is here? Hey, about that 50 plus live. Dangerous. Be careful with his. Yeah, I make sure that now if anybody's videos you're free to use on YouTube, as long as it's on the fair use, you just have to make sure that you just don't watch it the whole way through. Like every minute or so, you need to pause it and give commentary. And then after that, make sure that you just have fair use commentary somewhere on there. And then even if someone takes it down, it can be put back up if you have fair use. And you actually give commentary. You can't just watch it all the way through. Something I something I find highly suspicious. Zuniga promoted announcing who owns the villa 3 times in the past week. Thursday he said tonight, but now it's scraped all together. Maybe he wasn't 100% sure. And you already know, he already knows that if he posts something, it's gonna go through the verification process. People are gonna verify to see if it's true. Everything he posts, everybody know I look at it, right? And others do as well. Others do too. But I definitely will check it out. And I have already stated that once he posted it, I wouldn't just go with it or run with it. I would have to actually confirm it myself first. So maybe he's not 100% sure, which is great, right? You don't want to put out misinformation.
And I think about that. I'm with Mac. I find that suspicious. And then maybe he was told, not to do that. Like that was just like, you know, what's the, like take for instance, if that's public information, what is it as an investigative journalist to find out who owns that villa. And the thing about it is that
it's not as easy as it seems. Well, I did find maybe I could see him a database that I saw that said something about real estate, right? But as far as just doing a regular search, it's not going to happen. Now there is a database. Maybe he doesn't know about it. I don't know, but I don't think he's posting because he probably doesn't have 100% confirmation of who the owner is.
Well, he said, see, what happened is that one of his one time he had, do you know, first in one of the videos he said that villa was owned by a very, very powerful person in Mexico. He said that out his mouth at that time. Then he made like a preempt to a demonstration where he said, do you know who owns the villa? Would you like to know? Like he like kind of like was headed like leading type of thing. After he'd already said it was a powerful person, like he said it out his mouth in one time, and then he made like a preempt to his demonstration, saying like kind of like baiting you in to say he was going to discuss it, and then he left it, and that was about 2 months ago. He never said it, and then I know I mentioned it, and then on somewhere, I think on another channel, and then next thing you know, it comes back up again, and then he put it out there like 3 different times, and now I just checked, he canceled it, but it's been like 3 or 4 times that he put out that he was going to say who it was, and then now he's taking it down altogether, and I'm telling you, it's just too. If it was just one thing, Dani, it would be like, oh, okay, well, give or take, plus or minus, fine. But it's just so many things. It's like so many things that make you like say, huh? Like it's just too many of them. It's not just like one thing. It's like so many things, that it's just like, what's really good over there? That's how I'm looking. Like, what's really good? They got, I just really think that it's some type of cover up. I do. I really do.
Well, I do believe that there are a lot of people are trying to cover their ass, but as far as Zuniga, I believe that he really does not know because he really, to me, I think that he really does want content. He wants things to be able to post, things are exclusive, but he also, I really don't think he knows who the owner is. Now, the first time he said, "Oh, a powerful person," okay, and then the second time was actually a time when I gave him a list of ideas of things that people probably want to know, like he can do commentary on or give like since he's in Mexico, what can he find out that we can't like access or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
So I gave him an idea, and then that's when he said that, "Oh, would you like to know this?" Like he was using my ideas I gave him. Um,
Right.
there is a website in Mexico. It's like a real estate website. I tried to access the information, like to see like real estate information about who owns the villa. Now, when I try to access the website, I will have to look for it again. It was asking me for a CURP, like it's like a Mexico CURP number. It says CURP. And I don't. It says something about you have to be a Mexican citizen or other eligibility criteria. I did not meet those, and so I could not access that database. So that's when I said that it was a good idea for him to be able to access it. However, I did not send him the database or the link. I was assuming that he would be able to find it himself, but then I was like, you know what? It's not that as easy. So what I can do is I can try to find it again and then send him the database. And since he's in Mexico, he should have the CURP, and then he should be able to look up real estate information. Because not
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows how to find things, even if he says that he's a journalist. That doesn't mean he's like great at searching things, right? So I'll send it to him, and then we'll go from there and see if he what he finds when he accesses the database of his CURP. So that's one thing I can do as well.
Hmm. And now the other thing is that what I've been doing is that because it's been so long, I've been going back to old film, like looking at stuff from prior, so I can remember things that maybe I would have forgotten. And then when I looked at the old video of when the North Carolina journalist did the interview with Dad said that when things started going left down there, they called the Airbnb owner. So my thing is that why did they call the Airbnb people, the owner, the whoever owns the Airbnb? Why did they? You follow what I'm saying? Like
They call
that's why I think
Airbnb because Airbnb. Okay, this is how it happened. The Cabo, they actually rented the villa from Airbnb. Airbnb. Okay, so that listing was actually taken down. I actually have a video on it about how the listing was taken off of Airbnb.com. Okay, that's where they
hmm
that's where they booked through. Now Cabo Villas is actually like it's just like an Airbnb for Mexico, but they still put their villas on Expedia, they put it on Airbnb, they put it on it's a ton of websites that they post their ads on, including
hmm
Airbnb. So they didn't actually go to cabovillas.com and then book. Most people in America, we will go to Airbnb. We won't even think about going to cabovillas.com, but we will think about going to Airbnb. And it's lo and behold, when they went to Airbnb, one of the villas that was listed was that villa in the 32, and it's through Cabo Villas. So that's how they book through Airbnb.
Yeah, but think about this too. And I've done Airbnbs at least 5 times before. One, if you think about it, Airbnb, when you go there, it tells you whoever owns it is in there. And maybe they took it down because his name is in there. Because when you Airbnb, it says the owner's name. It
Well, the
tells you
owner
who it
it was actually put as not all the time. It will actually put who manages it or two. Sometimes it's like whoever manages it. Like
is.
there's when I have if you go to one of my videos, my older videos, the
Okay.
owner, it says owner Cabo Villas. So it says Cabo
Oh,
Villas
okay.
on the listing. So yeah, and then if you actually clicked on it, they have a bunch of they had a bunch of villas on Airbnb. And they probably
Okay.
still do because Airbnb is popular in America. So if I want to get American tourists, I would definitely put my villas on Airbnb. So if you actually search Airbnb, like search up Cabo Villas and then type in Airbnb, and then you'll see that Cabo Villas they put their listings on there. And if you actually look, it'll say the owner is Cabo Villas. So that's even on their current listings. So that's something you can search up and try, and you can actually recreate that.
Okay. I'm gonna take a look at that too. I'm gonna take a look at that. But I
Yeah.
still say, like, if I was in an emergency situation, somebody was, whatever the case may be, um, let's think like who, like as a human, like my human instincts wouldn't say, let me go look up the Airbnb person, call Airbnb. Like I would call 911 or call for I would call 911. me personally, and they do have 911 there. So I mean, but they called the owner of the villa. It just doesn't.
I
It just
think that
it's
I
too
think
many
there
weird
might,
things.
yeah, I think there's kind of like there's some kind of confusion there as well. Because they say they call the owner of the villa, that's actually would be Cabo Villas, and to be honest, that would be actually their concierge. And
Okay.
remember the Ivan said that the concierge was questioned by the police too. So
Right.
if they call the owner of the villa, that would actually be Cabo Villas, and then that would actually refer them to their concierge, which is 24/7.
Right.
And remember the doctor is a referral doctor through a contract through Cabo Villas. So in order for them to get that doctor, they had to have called their concierge because how would they know how to get that doctor that's contracted through Cabo Villa? They had to call the concierge, and then that concierge referred them to there. And that concierge, if you actually look at, well, they actually took it down now, but before on CaboVillas.com, they had a list of all their employees, including the concierge people, and yeah, so that used to be on there, but now they took that down.
Uh-huh.
They took that page down, and then that's how I got all the numbers to all the concierge. But on there, they have the concierge, but not the maids because the maids are not there like directly under their employment.
Okay.
So yeah, the concierge, it will say 24/7 concierge, and then they have like I think 8 of them listed on the website. Whether they took it down now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's left to be seen. I just think that there's just too many out of ordinary things that's happening all all in one scenario. Like it's not like just one thing. It's just like everything, everything. Like who people normally call 911 instead of that's just like me if I'm renting a house, I'm not gonna call the landlord, I'm gonna call 911. you know, and then it's like they got out of there, and it was able to get home. The death certificate, that time is off. They're
Yeah,
saying that they did these adrenaline rounds, but they told Sue Ann that she was, like pretty much. My impression was that she was gone by the time they got there. Then they got these pictures saying it as if they getting ready to work on her. Like then when he showed the picture of the ambulance was down at the front gate versus being at the front door. Like it's just too many things awkward about everything to it just being something clean, like it wasn't something going on there to cover this whole thing up. It's just too many things out of order.
yeah, I agree. It's a lot to this. And that's why it's like a really a topic of conversation. And also, I think what adds on to it since it's another country. So that's a lot more. It's a lot different. Like if it was the United States, then it would be totally different of how we look at things and go like investigate or look into it or research our knowledge of certain things.
Hmm.
Right. This is like everything is overseas. I mean, not overseas, in another country. Then it's like a different perspective. Then,
Okay. Okay.
and also don't forget, like I mean, we have to also consider race a little bit. It's like we already know that Shanquella is black, and a lot of us are African American as well, and we have another country, Mexico, and we feel like she wasn't really treated fairly, and then she's not going to get her due justice or fair treatment. So subconsciously, and we're going to have that in the back of our mind to think about like her, like oh they were just trying to cover this up. They won't really give her due justice and investigate properly, which truly from day one she wasn't treated fairly. And people can say, well, race has nothing to do with it. Race always has something to do with it when it's someone black and it's being how they're treated because even subconsciously someone might give someone less care or less attention just because of being they're black, right? And not even on intentionally, it can be like implicit, right?
Right.
Implicit biases can occur at any time. So now we have another country, and then we have a black female that passes away, and now it's like we already have, and then it was already built on this whole thing is like it's hard to trust people because even the Cabo Five, they were lying and lying and lying. So this whole foundation is built on lies and cover up because it started off with lies and cover up, and then from there it seems like everybody is lying and covering up things. from the doctor to everybody. It seems like it's a mess. And don't forget, poor documentation. Now, would it be the same if the death certificate was more precise and it gave it, and the of unofficial police report was like if all the documentation was done correctly and more understandably, I think it would be less confusion. Like even with the guest like signing sheet, it's like a lot of things. It seems like it was done incorrectly, so then that can lead to people like, what's going on here? And that
Yeah,
again with the poor investigation and poor handling of things, right?
right. It's like everything that they give, everything. It's not like one thing. It's everything. It's something wrong with it. Everything. For every single thing is something wrong with it.
And they also had like an inexperienced doctor that was just like 2 years out or less, like on a year and a half experience. They had a new public ministry lawyer that he just graduated from law school that they had made their call to at the public ministry. They have a medical examiner that did the autopsy who actually doesn't have the credentials, all the credentials in Mexico to actually perform autopsies. They had him do the autopsy, right? So yeah, it's a lot with this case. I was trying to actually find something. I'm actually going to call the hospital to see what they say about the doctor. A lot of times they do, because it has been a while, so I don't know how it would go, but I'll try. So, okay. He was present in the house, so I feel everyone is guilty regardless of him getting there a day late than the others. In my eyes, they are all guilty and everyone needs to speak. Yes, okay. So here's another question. How are they all guilty to the same level or the same degree? So are they all criminally guilty or responsible, or are some of them civilly responsible? So do you think Nazir is civilly or criminally responsible, or both? It can be both too. And then why? But you already said it, really. So do you think it's more like civil, like negligence, or do you think it's criminal, like cover up and everything like that? So okay, so a lot. I don't really see. Does anyone out there still think that he was actually present? Okay, so let me go ahead and call this. Yeah, so someone speak English.
Sure. How can I help you?
Yes, I was calling to speak to Dr. Carolina Ornelas.
She's not working for us now.
Okay, well, can you send her an email to have her get back to me, or?
Well, what do you need? How can I help you?
Well, I need to talk to her. So can you give me her email address, or can you take my information and forward it to her and you send it to her so then she can respond to me?
Okay. Let me see. Oh, what is the name of the patient?
Okay, so does she have an email address so I can reach her?
Sure. What is the name of the patient?
It's not for a patient. It's for a legal matter, so I need her contact information. Or you can,
Sure.
or you can go ahead.
His admission?
Uh-huh.
Mark?
Mm-hmm.
AMC Hospitals?
Okay, well, I thought you said she wasn't working there anymore. So why are you giving me admission information email?
Well, that one is his working email. I don't know if she has another one. Oh, if you let me find it, if you have another, because that one is for the when she's working here.
Okay.
Or let me see.
Okay.
Let me see if you can find another email.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to call back or do you want to wait on the line?
I can wait a few minutes.
Okay. Let me see.
Brenda, I don't really know the answer to that question. Did Nazir fly back with them or without them? I don't know. And remember, Nazir doesn't answer all my questions. No, I have not answered. I have not asked him any other questions since the other day. Okay, I'm kind of being picky or a little choosy about what I want to ask next or do anything because I don't want him to not answer anything else at all anymore. Right? I'm not sure, and respectfully to your channel, I do not know YouTube protocol. There's someone who has reviewed extensively and showed it was 7 people plus Shanquella equals total in the villa. Well, the press conference and they had recently, they did not say 7 or 8 people. They said 6 people. So that's at the conference. And guess who saw the documentation and the evidence filed? Sue Ann Robinson. So if Sue Ann Robinson had saw another name or more people, she would have said,
Hi, Miss.
yes.
We have another pod is with his name, but we say CMC Hospital.
Okay, what is it?
ER.
Okay.
A.
Okay.
That. K.
Okay.
O.
Okay. Hello? Is it the @ symbol?
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Go ahead.
You're saying O?
Yes, I have O.
Oh. R.
Okay.
N.
Okay.
E. L.
Okay.
A. S.
Okay.
At.
Okay.
AMChospitals.com. Only we have that one too, but we don't we have another one.
Okay, so wait a second. So D, like D as in dog, R as in Robert or rabbit, and then A as in apple.
Yeah, like an apple. Sorry.
And then a period. Is that correct? A period or a dot? Can you actually start over like just the first four things, just the first four, so I can make sure I have it? I have like K or Nellis, but I don't have the first few things. I just want to make sure it's correct.
Oh, okay. It's in the beginning?
Yes.
Okay. It's like D, R, I like a apple. And after it's a dot.
Okay. And then K or Nellis. Okay, and you say you have another one too?
Only that one.
Okay, well, if she's no longer at AMC Hospital, will she still be able to check this email, or is it now closed because she's no longer there?
Yeah, I searched on the system, but we don't have another email.
Do you have a phone number?
Let me search because I think we don't have.
Okay.
We have is only a cell phone of the company.
Just the company phone number? Okay. All right. I'll try to email this and then I'll give you a call back if this does not work. All right. Thank you. Gracias. Hello?
Me?
Yes.
I'll.
The
cell phone only I have is only for the cell phone of the company.
Okay. So what I'll do is, well, I know before she did house calls. So wouldn't she have like a cell phone number since she did house calls before?
To call to her?
Yes.
I think human resources will have his number, but we can give you that number.
You say you can't give me the number, or you can't give me the number?
Yeah, because I think it's personal, that one.
Okay, well, she's no longer working there, and this is a legal matter, so I need her number. That's the only way I'll be able to contact her, because this email is no longer working, correct?
Maybe.
Okay, so what is the number?
Okay. It's 624.
Okay. Okay.
242.
Okay.
91.
Okay.
1.
Okay, that's not enough numbers, digits.
Oh, only the last one. Could you tell me how many numbers give you?
Okay, so 624 242.
242.
Yes. 911.
Oh, I see it. And only at the end of the one, a 4.
So 9114.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing as 52, right? 52 624.
Yeah, 52.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye. Okay, so I'll send this information over to Suanne, right?
Oh, you were good, Dani.
So let's see. Let's go back to the chat. Where is it? Hold on. Let me go ahead and email myself this real fast. Let's see. And then, okay, so I'm back. So where were we at? Let's see. There's someone who has reviewed extensively and showed it was 7 people plus Shanquella. Well, like I said at the press conference, they had ample opportunity to say, hey, it was 6 people. It was 7 or 8 people there, right? But at the press conference, they continued to say 6 people, 6 people. And they said, what are the other names of the people? They could have said, oh, and there's another person. Like they could have added that on. So that's why I believe that that's kind of like, I don't believe that it was more people. Now, the additional people there could have been workers, such as Ivan has confirmed that they have pool service at least 2 to 3 times a week. There is a chef that comes out, and then the chef brings a bartender, and sometimes like someone to actually serve the food. So to kind of make it like, think about it, like you have a chef that comes out to the villa. I'm pretty sure they pay good money to have a chef come out, and then to make the experience enjoyable, the chef stays in the kitchen, and then you also have other people that come out and then serve, and then other people that give you drinks, right? So that's why I said that additional people could be those people as well. And don't forget, the concierge greets them when they first come out and shows them around the villa, gives them chips and salsa, guacamole when they first arrive to the villa. So there's workers are present in the area. I mean, at the villa.
I've also not necessarily, well, I've received emails about the 7 people and 8 Mick and Shanquella, and what I've received is saying like the luggage, the luggage next to the bed, that's still on, like they're saying, I definitely know it's luggage because I homed in on it. I have a picture of that, and then it's receive one where it's like when she's walking in, to go skinny dipping, and there's like luggage up on the tape on the dresser, but there's like inference that luggage is a person. But I think that at this point it's a matter of interpretation, and then it's just going to be like, that's what it's going to be. Some are going to believe that the luggage next to the bed and luggage on the dresser are people, and then some people are going to believe that it's luggage. Well, let me say this. I don't know if I said that right. I think that it's just, I don't think there's any bargain in there as far as convincing one way or the other. That's like one of those things. Like they're either going to believe it's luggage or they're going to believe it's a person. And I think that that's where it's going to lie at, really, Dani. I just think that, everybody is just going to have their own opinion, and they're not going to be able they're not going to change it. That's what I think. But yeah, I got that.
I think that as well, but I think that some people, sometimes if you pose a question, then that can change some people's viewpoints. My question to those people would be about the conference, right? Press conference. When they were asked about the other people there, that was the opportunity to name other people or to change it from Cabos 6, right? But they did not do it. And nobody that knows about this information or what's in the evidence has said anything about any additional people since arriving from Mexico, right?
That it makes perfect sense to me. I would think that no one wants justice more than Shanquella's family. And if they thought it was more than 6, or they had inclination that it was more than 6, I mean, why wouldn't they explore more than 6? And then, I just think that, again, it just doesn't make, to me, it doesn't make sense to me that if it were more than 6, like, who would know better than her attorney. Who would know better than her attorney? But again, I looked at it, and then I went back and looked at the actual footage, and then I pulled the footage in, and it's luggage. But
Yeah,
then
it is. The thing
so
is,
we could go, but again, again, it's. I just think that, like how you said, even if you showed a ticket with and go and you made the phone call to the the airline people and everything else, but if they want to believe that, that's just what it's going to be, because right now that's where they're at mentally. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what they're believing. So I just say, it's just left to be told, but it's not convincing enough. When you pull it in close enough, you can see its luggage in those areas that I looked at. So it just doesn't, you know.
yeah, for those, I will actually say there are some people that were on my other channel when I went over this. They were actually believing it as well until I had some pictures, and I can't remember her name, but another, like, a subscriber sent me pictures too, and she had really made the pictures clear. Hunty was clear. And when I posted those, and I also zoomed in on some of my own pictures, people were like, "Oh my gosh, that totally is not a person." They actually believed it, and to me, I believe it's on the device. If you're on like a certain device, some people, like, they might actually be like, "Oh my gosh, they can make out a person." But once you get on, like, the bigger the screen you can get, or the best you can zoom in, or the better the clarity, that's when you're like, "Oh my gosh, that definitely isn't a person." Because now the person, they have the smallest arm possible. They're stuck in the same, like, pose the whole time, like a mannequin challenge or something. And then, like, if they are recording, what are they recording? The low floor, because even when they move to the opposite side of the bed, that furniture, I mean, not furniture, but the luggage stuff is still in the same spot. But yeah, like you said, there are some people that no matter what you say, they won't do it. And maybe, like, they probably still have not seen, like, a good clear picture of it, so they're still making out a person. But if they get a good clear picture, an image of it, then they'll probably change their mind, because I have changed some people's perspective on that with a sharper image.
And what, and if you remember, I don't know if you can recall from your memory, like on the right hand side of the bed, there's like this. I don't know what that fixture is, but I did see it in other pictures of the villa in the other rooms, because I like looked at the rooms and stuff, where there's like this black. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a speaker or whatever it is, but it's something black, and it's like kind of, it looks like a tower type of thing. I don't know if it's three humps or two. I even got that one time. Saying that either that's a person or somebody, it's a person behind there, or they blacked out a person on the wall. But if you look in those villas, they do, I don't know what they call it, but it's like a fixture. I don't know what what it is, because I've never seen it before, and I don't know what it does, or what the purpose it serves. But it's even so, it's like, again, what I'm just saying it to say that when you get to the point where you really truly believe than it's more than the six, then it's like it's like you're looking at everything, and it's kind of, it's good, because it's showing that you're really really paying attention, you're really really looking. But then when you really really home in, some of the things just aren't it. Like, they're just things in the room due to circumstance or part of the room. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, people will, like, that's why I say a lot of times I just post receipts, and then people will believe what they want to believe, and then that's on it. But then sometimes I'll just have an open chat and just hear different perspectives. But overall, like, just drop the receipts or post what you have, and then let everybody go from there. But yeah, that's definitely just luggage. Okay, so the nurse said when she arrived, Shanquella was non-responsive, but Nazir said he was talking with her, trying to make her comfortable. Okay, so I think that we kind of have to say, what is your definition of non-responsive? Because some people automatically think that non-responsive means someone, or unresponsive means someone is deceased. And Nazir actually uses the words unresponsive as well. If you actually listen to his video, he said Shanquella was not dead, she was unresponsive. Unresponsive can be someone can still be alive but still be unresponsive. Someone can be conscious and still be um unresponsive, whatever. I mean, yeah. So basically, there are some people that are catatonic when they're just like, they're literally just not moving or just not like communicating or talking, but they're like, they can be sitting upright in a wheelchair or just a chair, and they could just be stuck in like a pose, and they're not like actually moving. They're like catatonic. That person will be considered alive. They will actually be considered, of course, alive because they will have a pulse, they'll be breathing, but they'll be considered unresponsive because they're in this catatonic state, right? Where they're not speaking and they're not really like communicating with you. But so people will say unresponsive because this person is not unresponsive, not responding to you. Okay, not whatever. Okay, and then also Nazir said she was trying to get words out. And if you actually look at the unofficial police report, the doctor actually says poor verbal communication. So what does that indicate to you when someone says like poor verbal? If someone says poor verbal, how do you know that their verbal communication is poor? Unless they're trying to communicate to you verbally, and then you'll be able to ascertain or to determine like their level of their capabilities, should I say, right? Of being verbal. So someone can't really say I have poor verbal until they actually hear me talking or trying to talk or communicate, and then they'll be able to say poor verbal. So I believe that they both were pretty much saying the same thing. Nazir was saying she couldn't get words out, and the doctor was saying that she would have poor verbal, which would still be not being able to communicate.
Hey, Dani.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I was going to say that since we're talking about the word interpretations, how did you interpret when Sue-Ann said her 6 travel mates? Did you interpret that as all 6 flew with her, or that all 6 were there on the trip with her at one point or the other?
I interpret it as that's the saying, still another way of saying the Cabos 6. And that also goes back to the other person when they said it was 7 or 8 on the trip. And if she said, I have to go back and watch her again, but she said 6 travel mates, that also confirms again to the other person that mentioned 7 or 8 people there. She said 6 travel mates. At that time, she could have said, well, there was reported it was 6 or 7, 6, but it's actually 7 or 8. So I think once she said 6 travel mates and there was no other mention of others, then that's it for that. And as far as travel mates, it just means that that's who all traveled there on vacation with her or was in Cabo.
So yeah, that's what I took it as too. They were 6, but there's another narrative that's floating that, well, if she said 6 travel mates, that means that Nazir did fly with Shanquella because he traveled with her. I'm like, I didn't get that. I think that she meant, because even Dejanay and Dejanay and Elise definitely didn't fly with her. They had a later flight. Never got any confirmation of when Khalil and Malik did, but what I'm saying is that if that's what she meant, and she knows all of them didn't fly together, I mean, that couldn't have been what she meant, because it was a lot of them that didn't fly together. All of them didn't have the same flight. So I took it that she meant it was the 6 people that traveled with her, or were in the villa at one point in time or the other. I didn't take it that she meant that all 6 flew out together. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I didn't take it as that either.
Okay.
I mean, that's just another way to me of just saying the Cabo 6, but just saying travel mates instead of saying Cabo 6, say 6 travel mates. Like a way to just give a number to who all was present. It's unjust the way this case is being handled. U.S. feds get this case on the ball and get those criminals in custody. The time that Shanquella's mother received the call can bring clarity to the time frame. And that's a good thing, because that's verifiable information. They can be verified at what time calls were received and made. Hey, Ruby Lee. Go according to Shanquella's mom receiving the call. There's a plan. I'm sure there's going to be different ways they can make a great, accurate timeline of events. Yes, make sure I hit the like button. I believe Shanquella was gone right after that body slam by that monster. I think they lied about time to cover the cover up. I truly believe she was already probably hanging on by a thread when Nazir arrived. Now, with that condition, she definitely was trying to hang on, as long as possible to try to get help, right? To try to survive, to be able to speak and tell what happened, or at least, survive. So I do believe that she fought to hang on for as long as possible. The call to Shanquella's mother is pivotal. Let's see. I believe it was Khalil that called the mom. Yes, that's what was told. Hey, Danae. Yes, that's Cheryl on the panel. I'm going to drop the link again. Nazir said in the video he was not in that room when they were trying to come up with an alibi, so he knew they were trying to cover it up, because why would he say they were trying to cover up with... Actually, one thing that somebody could do is actually go through Nazir's video, because Nazir does a different form of recounting a story or retelling a story. He goes back and forth between like when he was there to his afterthoughts. So a lot of times I believe that people confuse his afterthoughts, like what he thought about later, like now knowing something, compared to like what he knew then at the time. Like if he had just came from the trip and he didn't have any knowledge of anything about the video that went viral about the death certificate, like cause of death, and he didn't know anything, when he told the story or what happened, it would be completely different than what we have now. And by different, I mean it would just be straight up what happened on the trip. It wouldn't include anything that he found out later. And that's why a lot of times when there's like a jury trial or something like that, they tell the jury they cannot make any calls, or like they try to make sure that they keep them confined, so they actually don't like talk to other people or get like, like their views and everything else changes because of outside interferences or anything else, any other knowledge that comes out that can sway them. So anyways, it's different when you're telling a story like right after it happened, and then later on when you actually find out more information yourself, and then you'll add that additional information that you had no knowledge of before to your current story, like your current account. So I think that's what's confusing people in his dialogue, is the back and forth between what happened there and then his opinion of it later. You see what I mean? All right, do you follow me?
I follow you. I think too, when I watched that video that Nazir did, I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I felt like that his main concern was to clear his name. He wasn't there to tell whatever what he did or didn't know or anything else. He just wanted people to know that he didn't do it. And like he never said anything. He never really mentioned anybody else. He just stuck to about Nazir, not about everybody else. And he just wanted people to know that what everything, well, not everything, but what it pertained to Nazir, not anything else. Do I think he knows more? Of course I did. But my biggest takeaway from that was he wanted to clear. He was trying, even though it didn't work for some. But I think that his biggest thing was just to try to clear his name. Like he was not involved in unaliving her.
Yeah, so if he wasn't involved in unaliving her, but then some people now believe that, okay, well, he still covered up or omitted, and no one was actually there to see what actually happened. For both sides, I would say on one side, it's like, so if he wasn't there, you agree that he wasn't there, because they will say sometimes that, yeah, they agree that he wasn't there, but he still have covered up. So for that means that he had to get there. And based on what time he got there, probably 1:30, right? What time did they say the doctor arrived in that time for Cabo time?
What I got is 3:15 or 3:13. But I rounded up to 3:15. 3:13 is the arrival of the doctor.
Okay, and Nazir only got there around like 1:30, so that's not even 2 hours. So that would mean that he will have to get there, and then they will have to coach him on everything that happened, and they would have to trust him to actually keep this information and be a part of their plan. And two, they would have to tell him exactly, like they have to tell him exactly what happened. And the reason I say you have to tell somebody exactly what happened is, how can someone help you cover up something and they don't know exactly what happened and what they're covering up and why they're covering it up? So that they would have to actually give him a lot of information to be able to keep this covered up. And on top of that, when Nazir was telling the story of what happened, he never mentioned like all the details one would expect someone to know that's included in the cover up. And I re-listened to the video, and I was like, let me listen to any tidbits of information he would give me for someone that will only know if they were part of a cover up. And there's nothing. It's only a couple of things he says, and he says, they told me, but it's not like in like great detail about the cover up. It's only about like, they told me the maid found her, they told this and that, but it's not like in great detail, at great length, should I say. So that told me that he really wasn't a part of a cover up, because he would definitely know more details and information. Secondly, he's also out here accusing everybody, accusing the others of murder, right? So to me, if someone was accusing me of murder and I knew that they helped cover it up, I would actually be like, oh, you're a part of this too. But he's brave enough and bold enough to say, y'all did this, y'all jumped her, y'all murdered her. So then it's kind of like he's excluding himself or separating himself from them. So if you believe he's a part of the cover up, you're saying that you think that the others coached him and told him what to do and trusted him. And sometimes that can happen, but for the most part, if someone isn't there when the crime is committed, most people won't actually trust that they will actually keep that a secret at all, unless they call the person and say, hey, come over and can you help me with this? And then it's like an accessory. But I don't know. What do you think?
I think that like you're thinking, like I think that I don't think that I wouldn't, if whatever they did, like to me he's just too far out there, and he's too much of a social butterfly that I would even entertain that, telling him that it would be a secret. So and then I think he knows now. But I'm not positive if he knew then, if that makes sense. Like, I think that he has probably pulled up, or they have probably met up somewhere where they've told him everything. But I don't think that he knew when when everything was going on. I don't think that, like some of the things that he said, like if he was trying to cover up, he wouldn't even have said. He would have talked about the music, that he played. Like, who would do that? I think he was he was speaking off of impulse and just telling the truth. And it's as silly as everybody thinks it is. It does sound pretty silly, but he could have simply have not even said that if he was really trying to plan to. He would have left that out. But he's trying to tell you everything that he remembers. Like, he remembers like turning on the music, like, I would imagine what I visioned was, I showed up and I'm in disbelief and I really don't want you to die right now. And I'm like, come on, like, I'm trying to do different things that I know, like, hey, let me turn on the music, let me, whatever. I'm trying to make you comfortable. Like, I think that he was just in a panic mode. Like, didn't really want her to go. And he's like doing like normal things, saying, trying to like make it, hoping that she would come around. That's how I took it. Like, if you're trying to cover up something, why would you mention that you turned on music and played it? Like, that's just something I would imagine that he wouldn't have said it if it wasn't true. Like, maybe it sounds silly, but he's just telling you what he did. Mm-hmm. If I'm trying to cover it up, I wouldn't talk about I turned on some music and rubbed her head. But he probably did do it for whatever reason. Maybe that was her favorite song. I don't know.
Yeah, so like, to be honest, like when I first watched this video, I was skeptical too. But as time went on, and then I went back and revisited the video, then it made more sense about what was going on, everything that was happening. So yeah, I don't really think he's criminally responsible, but at the same time, I'm kind of like Um, I'm not going to say any. I kind of like go based off what I know and not what I kind of like speculate. So I can account for him not being there, and I also so that means he didn't cause her injury outlet fixation, and I also don't believe. I believe that she was responsive when he arrived in the state of outlet fixation, as I already explained. I don't believe that he hurt her anyway. However, I do know that he saw her busted eye, busted lip, and everything else, and then he later saw the doctor question about the knot on her head. All that added up to where at some, and then he also said in his video, he said, "I didn't want to accuse anybody of anything." When he said, "I didn't want to accuse anything about anything." So to me, in his mind, even maybe the doctor, they had it in their mind that something was off. At some point, I believe that he realized that something had been off about this whole thing, right? But he didn't want to call them out or question them. So then at that point, that's where I'm at right now with that. To what was his thought processes or something like that. I'm not saying that's part of like cover up or like omission. It's kind of like something is off with this, but I'm just gonna like I don't know. I have to actually think this through more, but I pretty much went through all the steps of them being there up until that point. I don't know. Like even like for the doctor when she saw the busted eye, busted lip, and the injuries, what were her thoughts, right? For going along with it, like not thinking more into it, like something had to cross their mind that this is not adding up to alcohol poisoning based on her injuries. So that's where I'm at with both of them, and that's why I bring up negligence for both, because you can't really overlook that the injuries were there. So then they should have acted on those injuries that say that this is not alcohol poisoning. That's why I say negligence for both. Now, alcohol poisoning, they're not really responsible for saying, "Oh, well, alcohol poisoning. I was told alcohol poisoning." So then that brings into if they were also told that that she fell. So then that would add in some things too. But I don't know. Your thoughts on that, or
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. I think it can is my sound okay?
yeah,
Okay, all right. Yeah, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. 100%. 100%. I think that I think that the and this is just my opinion. I think that it's more focus. I think it's because Nazir has come out and he's the only one that has spoken. So the focus is on him because he's the only one that's talked. But I think that it's like it seems as though, in my personal opinion, it's like so much emphasis on him versus the person who attacked her.
yeah, that's true, and that's what happens a lot of times when he's the only one speaking. So people can like get a response or some kind of reaction from him because he's also posting on social media and things like that. The others are silent, so you're not gonna get a reaction from them or get anything, pretty much.
I don't know if it's like some I think some people just have that basic belief or in their personal thoughts that everybody is entitled to. And then maybe because he is talking, some people are baiting him. Like last night, when I was telling you about that one last night, I think that some of it is baiting him to respond because they need something. And I just think that some of it is just bait. Like, okay, if, we need you to come out, and so we're going to say these things, and then we're trying to get you to talk.
Oh, I don't know. 'Cause to be honest, I don't watch a lot of other channels, so I don't know. So I guess our people are trying to get his attention, like to get him to talk or speak or something.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Because even last night in that one I was telling you about, it's like the first one that's going to talk is going to be Nazir. Nazir, go ahead, Nazir, come tell us tell us, it's like they in one part of it is like asking him to come, like asking him to, tell the rest or tell the rest that pretty much.
Oh,
I
okay.
know you was there, I know you was in the room, you know. First one going to talk is going to be you, Nazir. I think it was like some bait there, like, come on.
Yeah, so I kind of expect that to happen. I mean, he did answer like two things well, more than two, but the ones I went live about. So I'm pretty much sure that other people probably wanted to get questions answered as well. I mean, we all have questions we want answered by just anybody that has some kind of insider information, right? So since
Right.
he's the only one talking, I kind of feel like most people would want to try to talk to him. It was just expected because we are like content creators and we have to try to get answers. And who best to get answers from are the Cabo Six or whoever has any information or knowledge, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I think that, yeah, definitely it would be. But if I wanted to hear, I think I want to hear what she has to say. I want to hear. It may be a long shot, but if I wanted to hear, if anything, I would want to hear from Dejanay. That's the one I'm waiting to hear from. I'm waiting to hear and probably won't hear it till court time at this point. But me personally, I want to hear from her. Like, what set you off? What happened? When that happened? Was it another fight? They alluded to that too last night, saying that they know that Winter did that final blow. Said it again, but I think that whatever that person had received, that it didn't materialize, but they still know it's out there. It just didn't materialize for one reason or another. Whether it was by that time they lawyer said don't you know was against it or whatever, but I think that it is the one out there and it just didn't materialize for legal reasons.
Hey Shank.
Salute Danny. Hey Danny. Hey Shell. Salute y'all.
Salute, Shank, salute.
I'm with you. I want to hear from Dejanay. I want to hear what set her off. Like, we know something happened, but I want to know what. That's all I want to know right now. Salute to everybody in the chat. As far as Nazir, I do believe most of everything Nazir is saying. The only thing that I think is off with Nazir is the timestamp. And I think the timestamp with him is off because he maybe got Mexico time confused with U.S. time. I also would like to hear from Kalia, like, because I know he got a side to tell exactly what was said between them two. Because I think that even though it it is something that happened while they was over there, I think things was brewing in the air. I think it was already something going on between Dejanay and Shanquella. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, I agree on that too. I think that there was some animosity pre prior to that trip, and then something else happened. It was a trigger. I think that whatever happened was a trigger, and then she just, she did what she did, and now she got to pay for it, pretty much. I believe that.
Yeah, I also agree that there was already some animosity and tension between those two, at least underlying jealousy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was like more like underlying jealousy between them. And then things just escalated like during the whole trip, probably things that were being said. And um, Shanquella probably took it as like joking around and just having fun. And then Dejanay probably felt some type of way about it and wanted to fight. That's what I think.
Because you could see that Shanquella was sort of like on the jokey type. Like, and I think the other ones was more on like a hood vibe or a street vibe. So like when she go looking for him, she like, where y'all hoes at? Where y'all hoes at? Somebody might have got offended off of that. Even though, to us, it ain't nothing major, but I think that, that's pretty much how that went down. But I could be wrong. I just think her vibe was like the goofy type. the corny type, and I think their vibe was more hood. And I think she got offended. I don't think Shanquella, I don't think she meant no harm, because I got associates, I got friends that's, like on the goofy side and on the corny side. And, I have to let them know, like, around me, you could say certain things, but, around other people, be careful what you say around other people because they're going to take it the wrong way. So I just think that Shanquella was saying stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
so.
Okay. Hey, La Jessica. I know I'm late. Who is Dani talking to, and what is she confirming? This is that's when I was on the phone call with the doctor. Yeah, it's called the doctor. I'm sure you know now. So I'm just trying to catch up with the chat. But yeah, like I was saying before, Nazir would be a person that will be able to answer a lot of questions, but he doesn't really he's guarded now because of all the attacks and everything else that happened before. So he doesn't really answer like every question's sent to him, right? And that's understandable. I mean, like even like the family, like, well, I would say the father, like he had an interview and then like some, not the person that interviewed him, but other people were like twisting his words that he said in the interview. So then he got kind of like skeptical of doing a lot of interviews because of how that happened with his words getting twisted.
and one thing about Nazir, he tried to tell us. And mama, he was like, all right, what he said, I don't want y'all coming to apologize. And he tried to tell us. But I was one of the ones that was like, he BSing. But then I backtracked and I was like, oh my God, the man was telling us something.
Yeah, I think I started to believe more when I think I started to believe more, to be honest, when I realized, like, once I learned more about Atlas luxation, that's when I started like, something is a little off here. Um, and once I started looking into that and what like the symptoms of it, that's when I was like, it's possible that he's telling the truth. And also, I went back and looked at his videos and I like re-listened to his word choice and everything else, and how he was separating himself from the group. So it's just that video. Once you know more information about a case and you go back and relook at things and you can see it with the more experienced eye, more knowledgeable eye, and under a different lens and see it completely different from before. Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Okay, so what do y'all think about Elise? Because Elise, so most people are thinking that it was 3 people in the room. But well, yeah, 3 people in the room. So what do you think the 3 people in the room were? And where was the other person and how much responsibility do they have?
I think it was Dejanay, Winter, and Kalia in the room. I think it was them 3 in the room.
Me too. So then that would bring to Elise, like what now? A lot of people don't really talk about Elise and like what they think about her.
I think she came in. I think, she did come in. Oh, and also, Malik. I think Malik was in there too. So I guess we would have to take somebody off the table because I think that's Malik saying he ain't going to at least fight back. But back to Elise, I think Elise came in and I don't think she tried to stop it.
Can I ask Shank and Dani, can I ask you a question? And this is the part that I struggle with when it's the differences between whether that was Elise or Winter. And I'm stuck on the fact that Winter had her nails painted all white. Dejanay had her nails painted all white. And the person holding that phone had a French manicure like Elise. But that arm is a little bit bigger than what Elise would be. But I still remember those fingernails from the night before when Winter was doing those push-ups. So, okay, so the arm was too big to be Elise, right? But then Winter had white nails. Then who was it? Like, because Winter definitely had all white, like they were pure white nails. And that person had a French manicure.
I don't really think there was pure white nails. The reason I say that is because the camera quality isn't that great. So with a poor camera quality, it's not gonna really pick up like distinctions from a distance. Like up close, you'll be able to see better, but from a distance, you're not gonna really be able to see like that one part is kind of like clear, more clearish. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. I get that. They just really look white to me, but that's a possibility too. Because the arm definitely was bigger than what Elise's would be. But the fingernails point out to it just seemed like it was Elise because she had the French manicure.
Yeah, but I guess I will have to see when you say all white. I know some people that get all white, but most people, I will actually try to pay attention to the length. Like if one is short, like the length is around the same, I would just say it's poor camera quality
Hmm.
on it. But if it's like a different, if it's the same length, but just that the camera quality, I would just go with that. Because then that would say, oh, somebody else was there because the arm would be number one. Yeah, so to me, it's just Winter because then you say that now they have more evidence, or they're saying there's something about Winter, so she would be in the room.
Right, they
So,
said that. Yeah, that's what he
so
said.
I would say, and also keep in mind that Dejanay and Winter are more closer than Elise would be. So I would actually expect Winter to be in the room because of just Dejanay was in there, like they're closer.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you, Shank?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that one out. I think the forearm is too big to be any of them. The tips, mm, I don't know. I'm still struggling with it.
Okay, so with that being said, that would still have one person else. I believe that Elise wasn't in the room. So whether you believe it's Winter in the room or Elise, what is that person's level of culpability in this whole thing? If they weren't in the room, I
Well,
think we agreed that one wasn't in the room, right?
there was somebody that was next to Malik, and if you listen very closely, that person said, "Why won't she fight back?" It was a female next to Malik. They said, "Why won't she fight back?" I think that was Winter, and I think that the person holding the phone was Elise.
Strong possibility. Strong possibility.
There's one news article that someone sent me, right? And they mentioned that it was 3 people in the room in the news article. Um, I don't know, because they said that he spoke to Daniel De La Rosa Naya, and they put it in quotation marks, and it seems like it's like a legit source of information, but I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I mean, the newspaper is recognized in Mexico. They have like a good reputation. They said they spoke to Daniel De La Rosa Naya. They put in quotation marks, but I didn't ever post the article. It's like from Mexico, because I wasn't like maybe I'm like 60-40 on it, so that's why I never posted it. But then it does say 3. I actually posted a link in the chat for anybody who wants to look at it, but I just never really discussed it all the way because I wasn't 100% sure of the credibility of it. But they put in quotation marks like it came from Daniel De La Rosa Naya. I'm gonna post it. So let me go to another question while I do that. Let's see. Yes, I understand, but these people was researched inside the room where Winter was laying on the bed, DJ standing up, etc. Thanks. Hey, gotta take 5. Yes, you have to have patience. Um, Let's see. Facts for outweigh conspiracy theories. Okay, that's a link. Okay, so I'm gonna basically be on here for another 15 minutes, then I have to go, y'all. Yes, that is a good point too. Thanks. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you so much. Is it Shireen? I might be Shireen. I might be pronouncing it wrong. If I do, apologize. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. I greatly do appreciate the super sticker. And everybody else, y'all can support my channel by just hitting the like button. The only people there were on the sign-in sheet. Yeah. Okay, so y'all were talking about the call. So I'm going to go to a few more comments on this.
And I'm going to drop down. Salute, Dani. I appreciate you letting me pull up. Salute,
thanks for coming up, Shank.
Salute, Shell. Salute everybody in the chat that salute.
Salute, Shank.
Keep doing the great work, Dani. Appreciate you.
Same to you. Bye.
All right, salute.
So Laxon Chica says, would need to see an actual list of proven names attached to the room, flight tickets, pictures of the people, something that showed more than the 6 were there, because the luggage isn't enough for me. Well, pretty much Sue Ann Robinson has already stated that it was 6 travel mates. If there were more, she would have said 7 or 8. She would have corrected the number since she has the evidence in the documents and the evidence file, she has synced it. I go by what she says, 6 travel mates, because she has seen the file. We haven't seen the evidence file. She has. Yes, honey. Yes. Yes. Thank you for the super sticker as well. Yes, auntie. Yes. I know I haven't said that much. Y'all, I am drained. I've been on here. I also went on live on my other channel. The sign-in sheet aligned with this is presented prior to guests entering the villa. Names on the sign-in sheet, as others have also noted, were the only guest that was verified. Oh yeah, with the ID, they have to, yeah. Well, to enter to be able to stay at the villa, they all have to have give their ID. So that's another way to verify it as well, is that to stay there, you have to show ID, because like a homeowners association area. Yes, make sure y'all keep on using this tag, and also keep signing the petition. That's change.org/Shanquella, change.org/Shanquella. Make sure you keep signing that petition. Non-responsive can be a number of things. It can be different levels of things. And to be honest, some people can use that term for deceased, but it also could be someone that is just that's not communicating with you. That's non-responsive. Non-responsive doesn't mean that the person is unalive. It doesn't always mean that. And to be honest, usually if someone is deceased, people will use the phrase or wording to describe someone as deceased. They won't actually a lot of times most people don't use non-responsive unless the person is just not communicating or just not responding to you. But when someone is deceased, they will actually say deceased or, another word for deceased.
I agree with that too. Like if she was deceased when they got there, I think she would have just said deceased. But non-responsive makes me think that she just was like what Nazir said, non-responsive. He's been saying that. He said that from the time he made the video. She was non-responsive.
Yeah. So I think they would use a different word. If she was deceased, like, oh, she was already gone, she was already deceased, she was already any other terminology. Non-responsive is like a weird word choice for describing a deceased person. You obviously wouldn't expect someone that's deceased to respond, so why use that phrase? If you're and also it could be not responding to treatment. There's different ways we use it. If your brainstem, which controls your automatic body functions, gets damaged, you could still remain alive for a period of time but unable to communicate. Yeah. But if the eye pupils still respond to a flashlight, that alone would be responsive. Somebody's eyes can still be, I would say a catatonic person is a good example, because their eyes can still move around and be still responsive and everything else, but they're not going to talk to you. So that's non-responsive or unresponsive. The person is not communicating with you. I'm behind was saying, girl, you got the number. Yes, auntie, yes. Was there at some time not flying together? Oh, okay, that's bad there. So let me skip down because I'm way behind the chat. So let me go down. I actually went over this, and no, I do not think it was a setup for get back for Lisa's sister death. Her sister died. Anita died of from intimate partner homicide. It was domestic violence related. It was not related to anything to do with Shanquella. I actually have a whole video on that. Initially, I thought Nazir was part of the cover-up because I could understand why anyone in the group would conceal the fight. I struggle with no one ever sending the video still lied to him. I struggle with why no one author sending the video still lied to him. I at some point believed that he was suspicious of people, and the reason I say that is because he said, "Well, I didn't want to accuse anybody," or he said something similar to that. I will have to re-listen. I didn't want to accuse anybody, right? So I think that he was suspicious, but since it was his friends and not just his friends from college and not just strangers, that he didn't want to question them or make accusations like, "What do y'all do to Shanquella?" Like he gets there, he said, "What do y'all do to her? Did y'all beat on her? What do y'all did?" Like that would be accusing them of something, and like he would think that they were her friends too. So why would he accuse them of doing something like that, right? So I believe that he probably felt suspicious of something, but he didn't act on his suspicion. The same with the doctor. So then that would kind of go with negligence, right? But then some people will say, well, if you're suspicious of something and you didn't say anything, then that means you went along with it instead of just speaking up about it. Dani, do you think it was a setup or no? I already get it. Okay, so let me read a couple of more. Do you have anything you want to add, Shell?
No, I don't. I just wanted to wait for a pause. I'm going to go ahead and drop down into the chat. Thank you so much for having me on your panel, and look forward to doing it with you again next time you have open chat.
Definitely, and I enjoy your company. So thank you.
All right, have a great one. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye. Okay, I'm gonna read 2 more comments and I have to get off here, y'all. Hey. Okay, let's see this one. And hey, okay, so if I did not speak to you, hey to everybody at once, okay? Hey, and make sure y'all hit the like button. We will do this again. And it says, I saw a video footage in the beginning when the videos first surfaced showing Elise and Winter in the room with their phones. I've searched for the video since and I have not been able to locate it. Now, people have said they've seen videos, but I don't know. We will actually see, right? Now, is it possible there are other videos? It's possible. Because when 6 people are on, when there's a lot of people on a trip out on Cabo, phones are usually out. I mean, everybody has their phone like everywhere with them. So I'm sure there's going to be pictures and videos once this all is unveiled and unravels, right? Yes, that's my other channel. But yeah, the last thing I'm going to say is make sure, hey, Erica, so make sure you sign and share the petition. That's change.org/Shanquella. That's change.org/Shanquella. So make sure you're signing and sharing the petition. Did anyone see a resort bracelet on anyone? I don't know. Yeah, this is a petition link. Okay, I'm gonna sign off with M Max. Okay, at some point, everyone there had the opportunity and obligation to call 911 and tell the truth. Also, more than one person had to move and dress her, aiding and abetting and accessories after the fact. Yeah, so that most people had the opportunity there to call 911. I agree. But also with Nazir, he also stated that I guess that when he got there, they told him that the doctor was already going to be on the way. So if you get somewhere, sometimes if someone tells you the doctor is already on the way, you might call. But then some people will still say, well, hey, the doctor taking too long, call 911 because it's obviously an emergency. All right, y'all. Have a great day. I will see y'all in the next live. Okay, here's Bentley's. Elise is not on camera. Elise could have played 1 or 2 roles. Her sister died from violence, and her sister caught. Elise either clicked tight with the others and along with the plan, or what did you finish off with? or at least has been advised to save herself, and she has made a statement. She was comfortable enough to go back out in public. She didn't go to Shanquella's mom's house, so she probably told what she knew. I also believe that Elise was not in the room. However, I believe that she was a part of the cover-up of it, because there's no way that she was in the villa and did not hear all the commotion and not know everything that was going on in there. So I do believe that she's a part of the cover-up, but I don't think she was a part in the room as part of the attack. And the reason I think she probably wasn't in the room is because her sister had just passed away, so she probably wasn't really in the mood to like really party and like have this exciting vacation. She probably thought she would just go there and still just like, since everything was already planned. But then she found out when she got there, she still wasn't really like all lively and like happy-go-lucky. So she probably was more withdrawn than the trip. Let's see. We all want to know what said Dejanay. Oh, that chick was mad. Yeah, she was really rageful. A lot of anger. Hey PM channel. Hey girl. Hey. Emphasis was on Nazir because he was so vocal about events surrounding his actions with Shanquella. The entire group should be held accountable. Okay, so it's more to Nazir's story than he is letting us know. Believe he was there all the same time. Well, Miss Cake, I actually called the airport and I got his boarding pass, and I actually called the airport, American Airlines, and they confirmed 100% that he did not arrive until Saturday, October 29th. So he actually he did not arrive with the others, which is true. Now, is he completely off the hook? Not really. Depends on who you ask and their opinion. Arissa, I'm glad I didn't log off before I saw this. Jazz Hunter, yes, thank you for supporting my channel, Arissa. So shout out to you for the super sticker. I appreciate it. And everybody else, make sure y'all hit the like button. And for real, I always say I'm about to go, and my mods get on to me like, you say you're about to go and you're still clicking away. Because I'm like, I really like to read my comments, but now I am tired, so I really have to go. Yes, hey Raw, have a good day, everybody. Bye.